to change your business model in the interest of protecting individual privacy?
Congresswoman, I'm not sure what that means.
Well, I'll follow up with you on it. When did Facebook learn that Cambridge Analytica's research project was actually for targeted psychographic political campaign work?
Congresswoman, it might be useful to clarify what actually happened here.
Well, no, I don't have time for a long answer, though. When did Facebook learn that? And when you learned it, did you contact their CEO immediately? And if not, why not?
Congresswoman, yes. When we learned in 2015 that a Cambridge University researcher associated with the academic institution that built an app that people chose to...
We know what happened with them, but I'm asking you.
Yes, I'm answering your question.
Right.
When we learned about that, we
So in 2015 you learned about it?
Yes.
And you spoke to their CEO immediately?
We shut down the app.
Did you speak to their CEO immediately?
We got in touch with them, and we asked them we demanded that they delete any of the data that they had, and their chief data officer told us that they had.
The gentlelady's time has expired. Chair now recognizes gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Shimkus, for 4 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here, Mr. Zuckerberg. Two things. First, I want to thank Facebook. You streamlined our congressional baseball game last year. We got the managers here, and I was told that because of that, we raised an additional $100,000 for DC literacy and feeding kids and stuff. So that's the other thing is I usually put my stuff up on the TV. I don't want to do it very much because my dad, and he'd be mad if he went international like you are. And he's been on Facebook for a long time. He's 88. It's been good for connecting with kids and grandkids. I just got my mother involved on an iPad, and because she can't handle a keyboard. And I did this last week. So that in this world of activity, I still think there is a positive benefit for my parents to be engaged on this platform. So, but there's issues that's being raised today, and so I'm going to go into a couple of those. Facebook may develop access to user and friend data back in, your main update was in 2014. So the question is, what triggered that update?
Congressman, this is an important question to clarify. So in 2007, we launched the platform in order to make it so that people could sign into other apps, bring some of their information and some of their friends' information to have social experiences. This created a lot of innovative experiences, new games, companies like Zynga. There were companies that you're familiar with, like Netflix and Spotify, had integrations with this that allowed social experiences in their apps. But unfortunately, there were also a number of apps that use this for abuse, to collect people's data.
So if I can interrupt, it's just, you identified that there was possibly social scraping going on.
Yeah, there was abuse, and that's why in 2014, we took the step of fundamentally changing how the platform works. So now, when you sign into an app, you can bring your information, and if a friend has also signed into the app, then the app can know that you're friends, so you can have a social experience in that app. But when you sign into an app, it now no longer brings information from other people.
Yeah, let me go to your announcement of audits. Who's going to conduct an audit? We're talking about, are there other Cambridge Analytics out there?
Yes, Congressman, good question. So we're going to start by doing an investigation internally of every single app that had access to a large amount of information before we lock down the platform. If we detect any suspicious activity at all, we are working with third-party auditors. I imagine there will have to be a number of them because there are a lot of apps, and they will conduct the audit for us.
Yeah, I think we would hope that you would bring in a third party to help us clarify and have more confidence. The last question I have is, in yesterday's hearing, you talked a little about Facebook tracking in different scenarios, including logged off users. Can you please clarify us how that works, and how does tracking work across different devices?
Yes, Congressman, thank you for giving me the opportunity to clarify that. So one of the questions is what information do we track and why about people who are not signed into Facebook? We track certain information for security reasons and for ads reasons. For security, It's to make sure that people who are not signed into Facebook can't scrape people's public information. You can, even when you're not signed in, you can look up the information that people have chosen to make public on their page because they wanted to share it with everyone, so there's no reason why you should have to be logged in. But nonetheless, we don't want someone to be able to go through and download every single public piece of information. Even if someone chose to make it public, that doesn't mean that it's good to allow someone to aggregate it. So even if someone isn't logged in, we track certain information like how many pages they're accessing as a security measure. The second thing that we do is we provide an ad network that third-party websites and apps can run in order to help them make money. And those ads, similar to what Google does and what the rest of the industry does, it's not limited to people who are just on Facebook. So for the purposes of that, we may also collect information to make it so that those ads are more relevant and work better on those websites. There's a control that for that second class of information around ad targeting, anyone can turn off, has complete control over it. For obvious reasons, we do not allow people to turn off the measurement that we do around security.
The gentleman's time has expired. We now turn to the gentleman from New York, Mr.
Interesting cleanup operation there. That was one of the outstanding